They didn't like it. That's one of the reasons they have censured me. And then at the end of the letter, they threaten criminal prosecution if they don't like what I say going forward. Let me make it perfectly clear. This letter, or anything that Pete Hegseth says or does to me, is in no way going to affect the way I do my job and represent my constituents in the United States Senate. Ain't happening. So, his option, right now is he can continue with this kind of bullshit, or he can go take a hike.
So that was Senator Mark Kelly, a retired captain in the U.S. Navy. He received a letter of censure from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, informing him of a review of his rank and retirement pay. Now, Mark Kelly went on Jon Stewart's show for a kumbaya session. Let's watch.
What's so interesting to me is this entire episode speaks of something inherent in the character of this administration, and that is fragility. I don't think I've ever seen strength portrayed in this manner. This smacks of weakness and fear. When people have the power and the respect, they don't need to be petty. This is petty.
It's a reflection of the person at the top. It always is.
Not surprisingly, the ad hominem personal attacks are fast and furious. But Mark Kelly goes a step beyond into uncharted territory, being openly contemptuous of military command. Let's watch.
I mean, Pete Hegseth is not a serious person. He's unqualified for this job. Should have never been put in this job. I did not vote for him. I think he is the least qualified Secretary of Defense in the history of our country by far.
And of course, this was after Mark Kelly's ill-advised participation in a video with 5 other members of Congress, in which they urged the U.S. military and intelligence services to refuse illegal orders. Now, I've shown the full video on this channel already. Let's watch portions of the video that I cut together.
Senator Mark Kelly, I was a captain in the United States Navy. We want to speak directly to members of the military. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
The threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
That's terrible. Threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but right here at home. Sounds like communist propaganda. Now, Mark Kelly was using his rank as a retired captain to sow confusion and chaos among active duty service members, since the message seems to be coming from an authoritative source. Jon Stewart even had to point that out.
You identified yourself as a captain in the United States Navy and stated, we want to speak directly to members of the military. This administration is pitting our uniformed military against American citizens. You can refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. That sounds like...
It's what we said.
And
that's the law.
And he said you were telling them to refuse lawful orders.
Now, the video was released in November of 2025 and doesn't specify which orders are supposed to be illegal. Members of the military are supposed to refuse illegal orders, but there have been no illegal orders from the Trump administration to the military. The video claims that there were, but that's not been shown. Mark Kelly even says so when he's asked which orders are allegedly illegal.
This video and your message in it, what specific orders do you believe President Trump made that you consider unlawful?
Well, so this is looking forward, but let me give you a pass, an outline of things that he has said. In 2016, he said that the U.S. military will follow his illegal orders. He said something on a debate stage and was reminded that would be illegal, and he said the military will not refuse his orders, regardless of whether they're legal or not. He also talked about shooting protesters in the legs. How un-American, how unconstitutional is that? Fortunately, there was a Secretary of Defense that has stopped this. He's also talked about sending troops into U.S. cities to use those cities and people for training. I mean, we're concerned because of this president with this Secretary of Defense that we could have a significant problem. So this was a simple message, follow the law, and it was looking forward.
Looking forward. So the illegal orders hadn't been given yet. There wasn't even a point to the illegal orders video except to undermine good order and discipline, which could be lethal to service members and civilians during military and intelligence operations. But the 6 members of Congress are fundraising off the illegal orders video and the fallout, so maybe it was worth it to them. And maybe even worth it to Mark Kelly. He's the only one of the seditious 6 members of Congress who served in the military long enough to retire with a pension. Either that or he didn't resign his commission. So he's now the only one of them still subject to the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is why he was censured. Now, Mark Kelly has flown space shuttle missions. He performed spacewalks, which is still a rare thing since those celebrities aren't doing anything of a military nature. Now, Mark Kelly is different. He's supposed to be in the Neil Armstrong category, but let's think about this. Would Neil Armstrong ever have said publicly that the Secretary of War is the quote-unquote least qualified ever to hold that office? Would Neil Armstrong be going around to liberal media, Jon Stewart and Jimmy Kimmel, saying, "This is about freedom of speech, they're trying to silence me"? Now, the First Amendment protects freedom of speech, but often it cannot protect anyone from the blowback from their speech. Mark Kelly used his rank to disrupt good order and discipline in the U.S. military.
Senator Mark Kelly, I was a captain in the United States Navy.
So the War Department will be reviewing his rank and I guess will determine which rank is appropriate so that it doesn't carry the weight of alleged authority, which is what he intends by continually discussing his rank. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.